In trading with honesty and integrity.
From the KQAM News Desk, I'm Trace Tall. Good afternoon. Wichita police say they found evidence of drug manufacturing after officers responded to an explosion that injured a 31-year-old man. Police were dispatched at around 1 a.m. this morning to a shooting call in the 2500 block of South Roosevelt near Pawnee and Hillside. They arrived to find the man with a severe injury to his hand. Officer Trevor Macy said the injury was due to a butane lighter explosion. Macy said officers were allowed inside the home where the explosion occurred and they discovered evidence of illegal drug manufacturing and possible homemade explosive manufacturing. The house was secured and nearby homes were evacuated. The WPD bomb squad was activated and officers are working this afternoon to safely remove items from the home. Spirit Aerosystems informed its U.S.-based employees today that COVID-19 vaccinations will be mandatory effective December 8th as outlined in an executive order issued by President Joe Biden on September 9th of 2021. And now here's sports.
At the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Mason Voth. This update brought to you by Clearwater Liquor. Get your beer, wine, and spirits for your favorite games at Clearwater Liquor. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs certainly have some options available to them over the last couple of hours, as now we know that the Dallas Cowboys have released Jalen Smith late last night, and today Stephon Gilmore released by the New England Patriots. Money obviously being the biggest cause. The Chiefs getting ready for the Bills could certainly use some defensive help.
Hi, this is Blake Davis with Davis Liquor Outlet.
And this is Brian Davis with another great special on Tito's Vodka 1.75 liter, only $29.99.
And save on White Claw 12 packs, only $14.49.
Davis Liquor Outlet, each store independently owned and operated.
Excludes 31st and Meridian.
Here's the dirt on dust. It may seem fine, but it's actually made of dead skin cells and dust mite droppings. That's where Swiffer heavy-duty dusters come in, with thousands of specially coated fibers to trap and lock dust in one swipe. Dust can't hide on ceiling fans and bookshelves anymore. When you're done, just remove the disposable cloth and voila! That dust is gone for good. Now that you know the dirt, say goodbye to the dust. Swiffer heavy-duty dusters. Stop cleaning. Start Swiffering.
Hi, this is Blake Davis with Davis Liquor Outlet.
And this is Brian Davis with another great special on Jameson Irish Whiskey 1.75 liter, only $42.99.
And Maker's Mark Bourbon 1.75 liters, just $46.99.
Davis Liquor Outlet, each store independently owned and operated.
Excludes 31st and Meridian.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen.
For late nights writing English papers.
For your teen's music taste.
For dinners, where they talk more on their phone than with you.
For the first time, they call you Mom.
You're never completely ready to adopt a teen, and you can't imagine the reward.
To learn more about adopting a teen, visit adoptuskids.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Market information from the Mid-America Ag Network. I'm Andy Hooser. Wrapping up today on a Wednesday, looking at your cash grain reports for the states of Kansas and Oklahoma. And kind of mixed across the board today, the wheat and corn in the green. The milo and soybeans saw a little bit of a drop compared to yesterday. Starting off with your Goodland Co-op in Kansas, we saw wheat wrap up today at $6.95. Corn at $5.32. $5.37 for the milo, and $11.67 for the soybeans. In Beloit, Kansas today, wheat was at $7.10, corn at $5.17, milo at $5.27, and $11.82 in the soybeans. Concordia, Kansas, we saw wheat today, $7.20, $5.17 for the corn, $5.37 for milo, and $11.92 in the beans. Sumner County Terminal, we saw $7.20 for the wheat at $5.27 for the corn, $5.47 for milo, and the beans at $11.87. In the western part of the state, in Garden City, Kansas, $7.25 wrapped up for the wheat today, corn at $7.05, milo at $5.37, and $11.57 in the soybeans. Coffeyville, Kansas, $6.98 for the wheat today, $5.10 for the corn, $5.04 for the milo, and beans at $11.76. And at the Two Rivers Co-op in Kansas, we saw wheat today at a $7.11, $5.17 for the corn, $5.34 for the milo, and beans at $11.77. Down in Oklahoma today, we saw Ponca City with wheat today at $7.05, corn at $5.19, $5.27 for the milo, and soybeans at $11.82. And in the panhandle of Hooker, Oklahoma, wheat today $7.30, corn at $5.77, $5.37 for the milo, and $11.52 in the beans. So pulling out that calculator, looking at averages today, we saw wheat today unchanged from yesterday at $7.12 for an average. Corn with an average of $5.46, up 12 cents from yesterday. Milo was down by 8 cents at $5.31 for an average, and soybeans had an average $11.74, down 11 cents from what we saw on Tuesday. Markets open up again tomorrow morning. Market information from the Mid-America Ag Network.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers. Conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road. The Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
Here's your latest Wichita weather. For this afternoon, partly cloudy, highs around 76. Later tonight, mostly clear, lows around 56. Thursday, mostly sunny, highs around 84. Thursday night, mostly clear, lows around 62. Friday, mostly sunny, highs around 89. Saturday, mostly sunny, highs around 92. That's your Wichita Weather Center update. I'm Ashley Sublime.
That's your latest Cake First Alert weather update on the Big Talker, KQAM.
At 4:06, it's currently 77 degrees.
Fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they liked to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
What a day it's been. It's been kind of one of those weird days. We have strange news out there. We have frustrating news out there. You know the agenda the other side of the aisle is going to be attacking and focusing on. We have federal budget crises. We have shootings down in Texas. We have immigration issues. We have those that just don't understand the Constitution in any way, shape, or form. Your head should be spinning right now with the delusions that are out there in the world. Hey, welcome into the program. This is The Voice of Reason. I am Andy Hooser, trying to bring you a little bit of common sense, a little bit of reason, a little bit of normalcy back into the world, which is what we desperately need every single day. Welcome in, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station. All over the country, multiple radio stations, multiple TV stations, live streaming and podcasting, wherever you may be watching or listening. Welcome aboard for a midweek celebration. Your Millennial General reports for duty like we do every single day. Bottom of the hour, super excited to have back on the program Drew Allen, host of the Drew Allen Show podcast. He's out of California. We'll have him on as we talk about the latest in immigration with the new, 80,000 Haitians coming up to the Texas border. Because, that's the most efficient, accurate way to come across our borders and to be able to start a new life is just waltz right across our southern border that we don't enforce. So we'll talk about that as he's written the latest piece on how quickly it took Joe Biden to turn America into Haiti. I know. So we'll get his thoughts on that and more. Plus, it's good that we've heard some conversation throughout the day today on the Facebook censorship and concerns about the Facebook whistleblower, quote unquote. We talked about it at length yesterday, and I want to get some feedback on that one as well. You can always find us on our social media at Hoosier Reason, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, our Instagram, our TikTok, ourfreedombook.com, and of course the website at HoosierReason.com. You can find us there as well. I want to play a little game with you for a second. We do have an update on the shooting that happened down in Arlington, Texas. We'll get to that in a second. But I start off at least a little bit. Can we start off on a happy note, please? I get not a happy note because this is frustrating as well, but at least a little bit more satirical piece. I want to play a game with you for a second. Can we? I want to play a game on how long it takes Republicans to actually show a backbone, how long it takes Republicans to actually keep a backbone, how long it takes for them to cave miserably because a little bit of pressure was put onto them on how weak Republican leadership is in Washington, D.C. Can you guess over or under? I know gambling's illegal in most parts of the country. Hint, hint, wink, wink. You can play a little game over or under on how long you think Mitch McConnell and Republican leadership will continue to stay strong against raising the debt ceiling at the federal level with a $5 trillion massive boondoggle that is spending that's just taking things way out of control. How long can we sustain holding off Democrats from raising that debt ceiling, spending massive amounts of money, starting a whole new socialist revolution in this country by expanding Medicare and Medicaid, by expanding free K through 12 public education, free 2-year community colleges, quote unquote? Along with adding by the way, that child tax credit, that's going to be permanent. And it's not a child tax credit because you don't even have to qualify income-wise in order to receive that. It's just that check sent out to you. Universal basic income. socialism, government tyranny at its finest, over or under on, let's say, a month of Republicans holding out. Because, within the next week or two, the government shuts down in a quote-unquote fiscal crisis because we don't spend any money. How long will they do it? Will they stand their ground? The answer is pretty easy because that answer is no. No. Headline today, according to CNBC, that the Republicans have already caved. That was nice. That was cute. It lasted a week. So well done, Republicans. Well done, Mitch McConnell. You lasted an entire week to actually hold off Democrats on the additional spending. That's after, of course, some of the Democrats, Dick Durbin, other ones that have come out, and Harry Reid. Harry Reid's not in there anymore, is he? No, the other guy, the Democrat majority leader. I can't think of his name right now. I don't want to think of his name because it makes me sick just thinking about what he said. Just saying, we need to get Republicans the heck out of the way so we can pass this thing and save America because we've lasted a whole entire month plus without actually doing proper fiscal responsibility, just spending whatever we want to. And if you don't like it, then it's on you that we shut down this government. I mean, Chuck Schumer would be that individual that said those words today, going after Republicans. And in response, you would think that Republican leadership could come out and say, you've had months and months and months to work on appropriations bills, especially the House of Representatives, because that's their duty constitutionally. That is the duty of the House of Representatives, is the power of the purse to work on appropriations bills through the Ways and Means Committee. We're going to talk with Congressman Ron Estes from the 4th District right here in my home territory in the state of Kansas here in a few days to talk about that process because it's gone. It crumpled up, went out the door, and they don't even want to look at it any longer. They want to pass a $5 trillion massive socialist overhaul, and it's going to happen. We had a little bit of hope that maybe we could work some things. We had maybe a holdout from Joe Manchin trying to say that he wanted a $1.5 trillion federal budget. Try and tell Democrats of your own party, I know you're proposing $5 trillion. I want $1.5 trillion. And see how well that works for you and see how long you're actually going to be in office. When you go against the establishment Democrat hacks, then that's the level of ridiculousness that you're up against, and you shouldn't even try that. I mean, that was just laughable. But Mitch McConnell could halt it and say, we're not going to actually vote to raise the debt ceiling. So you're going to have to find a budget within the means of what we have left over. That's it. Just this is how much you have left to spend before we cap at our debt ceiling. You're not allowed to spend any more. Figure out a budget within those means. That's what you do. That is the rational, commonsensical, normal way to actually operate. When you have run out of your credit card because you spent too much money on your credit card, you go to the bank and you say, I know I have a $5,000 limit. I make minimum payments every single month. In fact, I barely even make the minimum payments right now because right now we can barely even afford to pay the interest on this national debt. So I'm paying the interest. I'm not paying the principal balance. I'm on a limited income repayment plan for my credit card. I can barely just cover the interest payments, not even paying down the debt. Just maintaining the debt to keep the interest off of it. I can barely pay that. It's a $5,000 limit. Can you please raise it to $15,000 because I really need some stuff I need to buy? If you went to the bank, what would they say? It's absolutely laughable. It's stupid that the level that these guys are in. So Mitch McConnell, being the leader of the only branch of the legislature right now that can actually do something by not raising the debt ceiling, could come back and say you've had since, May to work on appropriations bills, to work on a proper spending plan, to work on things that we can actually do that could help Americans by getting government out of the way, not increasing Medicare and Medicaid, not increasing Social Security, not increasing this repayment, this child tax credit garbage, not increasing the social spending in this nation, not doing the green new energy crap that's out there. Figure out a budget, cut some stuff. Let's work together and find what's really, really important. If you want your $1 trillion infrastructure package, and you can include that in, as long as it fits within the debt ceiling that we currently have set. And no Republican's going to vote for raising that debt ceiling, which you need 10 of us to join you. That's what he should have done. And that's what he's kind of sort of talked. He always talks tough. Well, Mitch McConnell, you're going to have to raise the debt ceiling without us. Did we not just read that quote a week ago from Mitch McConnell? And I haven't even gotten to the headline yet of what he's done today. According to CNBC, Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell offers a short-term debt ceiling extension following pressure from Joe Biden. Now, the question was last week was that Joe Biden was going to be the great middleman between everybody here because he was going to be the great moderator. He was going to be the Donald Trump, the business maker, the deal maker. Because that's what Donald Trump was, obviously. In the private sector, he was a deal maker. He sat down with both parties. I'm not ideologically driven. Let's find the best deal here because I want to be able to sign my name on a piece of legislation to say we did something. That was Donald Trump. And more than that, we got a semi-conservative-ish bill because he had his slantings a little bit that was influence in there to make it happen. And he had half the nation that was actually rallying with that with the Make America Great Again slogan. We go from a actual deal maker to Joe Biden that doesn't remember his name and doesn't remember what he had for breakfast in the morning to be the ultimate deal maker who's been in Washington, D.C. since 1976 and who's best pals with Mitch McConnell to where they've talked about their relationship on how they were able to make happy bipartisan bills during the Obama administration when he was vice president. And he was supposed to be the great deal maker now. Hasn't touched the federal budget discussions because he was like, well, Democrats are going to do the right thing. AKA either they're going to do it or we're going to boot them out of leadership. We're going to primary them and get them out of office. We're going to kick them out because they don't follow in line with what actually needs to happen. So Mitch McConnell, Joe Biden finally sit down, have a conversation. And after talking tough last week, our Democrats are going to have to raise the debt ceiling without us because we're not doing it. We're not supporting these bills. Now, Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell offered the short-term suspension of the U.S. debt ceiling to avert a national default. Soon as that pressure got on, Democrats, we're not budging on cutting this budget. We're not budging at all on trying to compromise, trying to work with Republicans, trying to work on whatever. No, we are ramming through a $5 trillion federal budget, and we will put the pressure on you, just like we did during the Obama era, of either you get on board or you're the problem with not working with us to do what we want, because we're 7-year-old children and we throw temper tantrums when we don't get everything that we want. That is the left side of the aisle. And Republicans talk the talk, but as soon as it comes down to walking the walk, they cave. Now, this is a serious issue, even more serious than what we're talking about with the $5 trillion budget, which is going to ruin the country, by the way. It's even more serious than trying to expand social programs that will never go away. It's more serious than all of that. Because it goes deeper. What happened during the Barack Obama era when we started going away from a federal budget with a 12 appropriations bills? We've talked about the process. Mandatory spending, discretionary spending. Under the mandatory spending, that's already done. Boom. We don't even touch it. It just grows incrementally every year, and we don't touch it. Discretionary spending is broken up into 12 appropriations bills. They decide it. They debate it. They talk about cutting here, putting more money over here, and then we pass them piece by piece. That process is done. And it died during the Barack Obama era because one time they did it as a temporary thing to pass a one lump sum omnibus bill, throw any kind of garbage you want to in it without any type of oversight, have no clue what the hell's in it, just pass it as a lump sum, large, massive federal budget and be done with it. Guess what? We haven't passed an actual federal budget since the middle of the Barack Obama era. Since it was supposed to be a one-time thing, a temporary deal. Boom, we pass it. We'll work on a federal budget next year. We just need to get through this one because we're close to a government shutdown. We just need to pass it, and Republicans get on board, or else you're the problem because you're not willing to compromise, to work together, to sit at the table and sing Kumbaya, as in you do everything that we tell you to, or it's your fault. Talk about the ultimate narcissist there. Do as we will, and if you try to stand up, then we'll browbeat you and we'll make sure that everybody hates you. The ultimate narcissist that is the elite, that is the Democrat, that is the progressive, that has now led to never passing a federal budget again and just passing omnibus bills, a one-time raising the debt ceiling to avert the default, a short-term suspension of the U.S. debt ceiling. Yeah, what's that going to turn into? We're never even going to have a debt ceiling anymore. It's going to be open, spend anything you want to, no limit. It's going to be that platinum gold credit card where you have an unlimited amount, and we never are going to be able to pay it back because we'll never have a cap on how much we can spend. That's what this is leading to, and it's all led by none other than the Republican leadership of Mitch McConnell.
The voice of reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the voice of reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the voice. And one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
I know. I need to calm down a little bit. It gets me so angry. I don't think anything in politics gets me madder and angrier than watching these idiots just cower and just cave every single time. I got to calm down. Get into my zone here. Just try and relax a little bit. I know I got to rest. Do a little deep breath in. Realize that Joe Biden's still president of the United States. Breathe out. All right, try to breathe in. We don't have any leadership because the Republicans don't stand up for themselves. This has turned into, you know what this has turned into here? This has turned into the parents that don't punish their children at all in any way, shape, or form. And they try to talk tough, and they're like, all right, you got to go clean your room or you're not allowed to have dessert tonight.
And the kid, knowing that it's not going to work, throws the temper tantrum, throws things off the shelves, tries to flail on the ground, gets all upset, goes into the room, doesn't clean the room, throws more stuff onto the ground as they continue to play, and then they forget all about it and come back in later and end up having the dessert after dinner. Or even before dinner because they know they can get away with it. And the parent oh, I'm so mad. Next time, you're not allowed to do that. Next time, you're not allowed to do that. Or else there's going to be consequences. After a while, the threats become completely irrelevant. No one cares anymore. No one listens because they know that it's not backed up by anything in any way, shape, or form. That's what Mitch McConnell has done for years as the majority leader for the Republicans, the minority leader for whatever, the Senate dude for the Republicans. Minority or majority, depending on what side of the aisle, depending on who's in power at that time. That is what Mitch McConnell has become. He just told us last week, do not expect any help from Republicans. You've had months to work on the budget. You know the federal debt limit that there is. You know that we cannot spend that much money. And we're not going to support this massive socialist takeover of the economy. Not going to do it. Figure it out. Come to the table with us. Have a compromise. Let's figure out what to cut out, what's important, what's a priority, and let's move forward. That was the conversation. And you know what? Oh, he talked tough. Oh, he did it. Not a week later, we have Democrats yelling and screaming. Chuck Schumer out there. Republicans just need to get out of the way. Republicans just need to move aside. We need to pass this budget or else we're going to default on all this stuff and all the economy's going to crash because we can't pass this federal budget. You knew that. You knew it going in. You knew it 5 months ago when you started talking about a federal budget and we start working on federal budget and appropriations bills. You knew that a week ago when we said you're not going to get our help in any way, shape, or form. Figure it out and come to the table and we can discuss this because this is the means that you have to live under. These are the rules of the House right now. Going back to the kid reference here. These are the rules of the House. This is what you must do in order to live here, in order to do what you need to do. These are the rules. This is the limitation. You can't knock over the nice pretties that are on the wall. You can't knock over mommy and daddy stuff. You can't just throw things around your room and not clean it up. These are the rules. Now follow them. And they do it anyways. And then what ends up happening? You got mom and dad in there cleaning up the room because that's just what has to be done. That is what Mitch McConnell is. He is weak. He is spineless. He lets them walk out. I don't care honestly, I don't care at all if the federal budget defaults. I have zero care on that in any way, shape, or form. Andy, that could lower our value. Guess what? It needs to be. We need to file bankruptcy in the nation. We need to clear the debts. We need to seize all the assets. We need to stop any type of spending in any way, shape, or form, except for, of course, national defense, because that's kind of important to keep us safe. We need to freeze everything. We need to fire 80% of government officials and government workers. We need to pay off debt and go on a 10-year plan to where nothing is going out except for the absolute essentials. And, when we shut down federal government and just the emergency crews are out there working and that's like it, that's what we need for like a 20-year plan, 50-year plan. That's it. That's it. Andy, you're so libertarian. No, I'm just frustrated. I'm angry because we cave every single time. We have what little power we do have right now with the 50 votes in the Senate. We can't do anything in the House. We're lost. We have a 30-vote shortage right now. We can't do anything there. We have a tied 50-vote power in the Senate. We can at least stop the filibuster, and you're giving it up because you're scared of the default. You're scared of the Democrats. When you put the ball in their court, they challenged you. They looked you straight in the eye, and you cowered, and you caved in. I'm done with it.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day.
So it's a win-win.
Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
Hoosier Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book, Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hoosier Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the voice of reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosierholic by going to HoosierReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HoosierReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hoosier Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HoosierReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hoosier Media Network.
when reason meets radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
I gotta say, I don't know how reasonable it sounds today. I'm cool, though. I'm calm. I'm good. I got it out. I feel much better. I feel kind of like one of those guys that are like a UFC weigh-in right now where you get all hyped up and then you think you're good and then they got to hold you back again because you just want to go after them. I'm cool. I'm good. Namaste. We have relaxed ourselves. All we got to remember is that Mitch McConnell is...
He's a jackass.
Yeah. That's about it. Welcome back into the program. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, wherever you may be watching or listening. Great to have you along for the ride today. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time. I want to shift gears, get right to our guest. Super excited to have him back on the program. We've had him on many a time, and we always love chatting with him as he is the host of the Drew Allen podcast, the Drew Allen Show podcast. And Drew, I got to say, I love the name of that, the Drew Allen Show, because I think of like a Mary Povich like a TV show, like a daytime sitcom, where he could be like, and the results are Joe Biden. You still don't remember your name, and I could totally see this. So, Drew, what's going on, brother? It's good to talk to you.
Oh man, it's been a heck of a week. You know, I had the opportunity to interview some of these LA City firefighters for my podcast that are going through nothing short of hell right now. You know, they haven't been vaccinated, and of course, LA City there passed an ordinance that required all city employees to get vaccinated or get fired. And so about half of that department in LA City, over 1,000 men and women are going to get fired. And it's going to unleash chaos in the city of LA. Those who need the help and depend on the 911 system the most aren't going to have anyone picking up the phone and showing up to save their lives. And it's outrageous. I was told 40 of these guys who've gotten vaccinated have had severe life-altering reactions to it. And these guys are willing to sacrifice it all for Americans. And so that's hope. And, you know, as I was listening to your last segment with these feckless, worthless Republicans, you know, we the people are the ones who are going to save this country ultimately. Yeah. We've got to look to one another.
No, you're absolutely right. And God bless them. I feel so bad that they're putting their lives and their careers in jeopardy in that sense. At the same time, with 1,000 of them just walking away and saying, I'm not doing it because I'm not getting the vaccine. If we had an industry where 50, 60% of that entire industry was willing to do that and step out and say, I'm not getting the vaccine, I'm not doing it, and you can find somebody else to do my job, and good luck finding and training and everybody to do that. If we had industries at that level, things would change pretty quickly because we can't function as a society like that. And you're right, when people stop getting responses to 911 calls, when their house is on fire and no one is showing up, I think things are going to start changing pretty quickly.
It is, and you know, we all are going to have to do a gut check sooner or later because, you know, the problem is, you know, American people, especially conservatives, we're conservative. You know, we just want to live our lives. You know, we're not out there like the Democrats scheming. We just want to do the moral thing. We want to take care of our families, contribute to the economy, and enjoy this nation.
Yeah.
But sadly, of course, the result is that a lot of people, they don't want to do anything until it affects their lives. But when it finally affects their lives, it's oftentimes too late.
Yeah.
And so, you know, those firefighters, for example, you know, that's just one department out of over 20. Sanitation has like a 30% vaccination rate. The police force is similar to the firefighters. So they're looking at a escape from New York situation here shortly.
Yeah. Well, heck, I mean, we can even look at some of the social issues with, say, nursing homes and long-term care facilities. I know that we have another mandate for them, too, saying that either you get all your employees vaccinated or you're getting your Medicare and Medicaid cut from the federal government. I mean, here in Kansas, where I'm at, we have like 10% of the nursing homes actually in compliance with the level they need to be at right now, which means now they run into the discussion of either we force you to get vaccinated and we have a massive staffing shortage, which they already do have a staffing shortage. We get rid of all of our employees and we have to shut down the nursing homes, or we risk losing all the Medicare and Medicaid funding to where the elderly individuals that are there can't even use Medicare and Medicaid to afford to actually live there. This is going to cause a massive havoc right now, and it's sad to see this absurd overhaul of the system just because this is the route we want to go.
Yeah, well, it's you know, it's an attack on the American people, and you know, they don't mind punishing people if they don't bend the knee, and that's really what all of this has been about from the beginning. It's about reversing our constitutional role because I always say, you know, the Constitution is a contract. It was written and signed between we the people and the government. And it establishes in a revolutionary way, of course, that we the people have unalienable rights. We're the master, and those in government are actually our servants. But the government, these tyrants, these authoritarians today, they want to reverse that. They want to go back to pre-1776 and assert themselves as our master.
Yeah, we are. We're talking with Drew Allen, host of the Drew Allen Show podcast. He's an author, columnist, political analyst. You can find him online at drewthomasallen.com. Going back to the discussion that I was having the first half of the show, talking about this federal budget, what can we do about this? This is one of those things where it's really out of our hands. We elect people, and we hope that they do the right things up there as our representative, especially in Congress, especially the House of Representatives, where that's their duty as the power of the person working on appropriations bills. But a lot of times they have this massive war chest for the campaign funds. They sink $1 million into a campaign. They win constantly. We can't fix anything, and now we're up to the level of either shutting down the federal budget because it's going too far or raising the debt ceiling yet again. And we have spineless leaders in the Republican Party that won't do anything about it. I mean, it's frustrating because we feel helpless in the situation. We're bankrupting our future generations. We're lowering the value of the dollar. We're massively increasing inflation. We're messing ourselves right now with how bad the economy is going to be. And there's nothing we can do about it.
No, there's not, and that's unfortunately, usually I like to offer solutions, but when it comes to the national debt and the deficits every year, that really is out of our control because unfortunately we ceded over that power long ago constitutionally in giving that authority over to the federal government to tax us, and it's robbery, and again, it's like they have an individual credit card in our name and they keep swiping it, and you're right, they're reducing us to a position that's going to be, it's devastating now. People don't understand. Once inflation actually really continues to take off, we're seeing it now. It's going to affect everyone. It doesn't matter what your skin color is. It does not discriminate. Yeah. And we're all going to suffer for that. And to your point, listening to you about Mitch McConnell and these other people, they just keep raising the debt ceiling, caving left and right. And you're right. We need to just default. We need to shut down the government. They need to be forced to live within their means. Yeah. And they're never forced to be accountable for it. And it has to happen sooner or later because the tragedy, the longer this goes on, is going to be much worse.
It's going to be sad, and you're right. We need to have a drastic wake-up call, and I guess the only thing that we can do is bring stuff back to the state level, which is what we've been promoting. If the state governments can actually cut out federal aid, they try and cut out some of the federal grants, they start working on their statewide budgets, then the government would change pretty quickly, but there's too many of them that just won't do that. I don't think it's going to do any good.
Well, and the whole system's so corrupt now, it's almost impossible to figure out where you can actually create effective change at the state level because a lot of these states, of course, are dependent upon federal funding for X, Y, and Z, so the federal government can pull that from the state, so they control that mechanism. And just everywhere you look, we're being held hostage. We really are, as American citizens, being held hostage here to the federal government.
Yeah, it's frustrating. I know I was going to bring you on, and we had some issues that I had scheduled you to talk about with immigration in Haiti, and we'll get to that in a second. But I want to do a rapid fire with you for a second and kind of just pick your brain off the top of your head. But the shooting that happened down in Arlington, Texas today, I know you're originally from Texas. You're out in California now. Normally we hear Californians moving to Texas, not the other way around, so kudos on that one. But coming from Texas in this shooting, apparently they do have the guy in custody. But even the Fox News report that was released today talked about how they started going into gun laws in the state of Texas on how he broke the law. Under Texas law, according to FoxNews.com, it's illegal for the shooter to have or purchase the gun used in the shooting at the Timberview High School. Texas Governor Greg Abbott said that the unrelated press conference on Wednesday. Ross added that the suspect was illegally in possession of a firearm on school premises. The mayor said that he was, quote, confident law enforcement will be finding him and apprehending him, which they did. A new Texas open carry law, which went into effect on September 1st, applies to only those aged 21 years and older. The sad part is even Fox News now is going after two-way law and two-way issues by bringing into effect that now we have this open carry law in Texas that started in effect on September 1st. Now we have a school shooting from an underage kid that illegally had a gun on gun premises or on school premises, shot a kid, shot a few people, and then fled because now it's going to start again this whole agenda of we need to go after gun laws in Texas.
Well, and of course it's so dishonest. You can look at places like Colorado, Columbine, and so on and so forth that have also had these horrific school shootings that didn't have open carry. So, you know, here they go again, deflecting, distracting, and creating a false narrative, trying to attach open carry to what happened in Texas. And, of course, already factually we know that that wasn't the case. It wasn't responsible. I mean, you know, it's unbelievable what they've done to make it seem like some stupid statement when we say, it's kind of trite at this point, but, you know, guns don't kill people, people kill people. And unfortunately, that is a very, very true statement. What we have is a pandemic of amorality in this country. These kinds of activities did not happen as frequently throughout our history. I mean, we've always had a Second Amendment. The problem is today, it's the moral depravity that's frankly come from this Democrat Party. Yeah. I mean, everywhere they go, trying to destroy the nuclear family, trying to teach hatred to our young people with critical race theory, which they've already been doing unofficially for a long time. And that's really, really what's responsible for this, is people who would actually think that they could go forward these types of behaviors. Yeah, and that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, you create the division, you create pressure onto the market. We've talked about this a few days ago of causing issues by, putting the economic pressure on people, raising the inflation, getting rid of jobs, forcing mandates or you're going to get fired, causing economic distress that leads people to do bad things, keep them away isolated, keep them mentally unstable. Then you go around and when they start acting out and start harming people or going after people, then you say, oh, look, the gun's the problem. Now we have an agenda to go after here. We're got to take a break here. Drew Thomas, DrewThomasAllen.com. Drew Allen is the guest with us. When we come back, we'll talk about some immigration. We'll talk about the deeper agenda, how we fight some of this. It's a frustrating day, but there is hope. There's always hope. We got it. We'll make it happen. We'll continue this conversation when we come back here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station.
We're here for you.
Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. Conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. And I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hoosier Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn,
Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hoosier Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Last round here on the Voice of Reason. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting all over the country. I have been working really hard on the Hoosier Media Network studios as well. We're going to be posting some stuff on that as well here soon, so stay tuned in because I'm really, really excited. We've been working so hard over the last, 8 months on construction. I've never done it by myself. I've done it obviously with my parents and growing up and been around construction for a long time, but the fact that I put studs in drywalled and mudded and painted and carpeted and everything on my own without any assistance. We're literally building the Hoosier Media Network from the ground up. So super excited about that. We'll have some updates on that for a little bit. Something we actually have control of, right, Drew? We actually have control over that kind of stuff. That's amazing.
Yeah. I'm going to have you come to me and help me build a wine cellar.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Now, the fun part is, and we're going to use this as part of the video set for this, is I am building like an L walk-behind bar at the Hoosier Media Network studio. So I have a bar set. We're going to build a little L shape behind there, and actually, it's going to be really cool. Speaking of things that are frustrating and we don't seem like we have a lot of control over, constitutionally, it's a legal battle. It's going to the courts, obviously, is this immigration issue that I do want to touch on quickly. While we're helpless in the budget debate at the federal level right now, we now have a quandary constitutionally with immigration. We have the federal government where they actually do have a couple limited, well-regulated, transparent duties that the states have given up for their sovereignty for the federal government to handle. One of those is immigration. That's one thing that the federal government seems to not want to enforce, is immigration law on the books. If we actually enforced what was on the books, we would be fine. We wouldn't have the issues we're having, but that's not the case. Now we have, 30,000 Haitians that just crossed the border illegally a few weeks ago. We have another 60 to 80,000 that are on their way up here. I guess the big question is the state of Texas, the state of New Mexico, Arizona. What do we do about this? And can they as a state try and stop them and say, you're not allowed on our territory. You can't come in here?
Yeah, they absolutely can. I don't know why they don't. I mean, I could speculate and offer some insight, but nonetheless, Greg Abbott, for example, could deploy the National Guard. He could do it. That's well within his right. And honestly, now the conversation that's brewing now is our Second Amendment and a well-regulated militia. Can these citizens now take it into their own hands? I would argue yes. The federal government doesn't believe in the Constitution to begin with, and they bastardize everything that's in it, and they obviously disregard what the law says anyway. So it would be a fight. But, these people need to act unilaterally because they're protecting the sovereignty not only of their states, but the rest of America, because remember, they may be entering in Del Rio, Texas, but that's not the final destination for these illegal immigrants. You know, we know, I mean, look, so many fires get set from this administration. We're quick to forget what they've done that hasn't been dealt with. But, you know, we had a month ago stories that the Biden regime was flying these people secretly into the interior of the United States. And so they are facilitating this invasion. And that's what it is. You know, in the 62 years that followed the opening of Ellis Island to receive immigrants, roughly 12 million immigrants came into this country. And, of course, there was no welfare state back then, so they weren't coming to be on the take. And actually, we vetted people to make sure that they weren't going to be on the take. We wanted people to contribute to society who wanted to become Americans. So 62 years, 12 million. In 1 year, upcoming, in this Biden administration, there will be 1 million new illegal immigrants in this country.
Wow.
That's unbelievable.
Well, that gets to the point, too, to where the system that's in place as well to kind of the backstep or the safety net of if there's an illegal alien, we catch them, we deport them. If we're talking 1 million plus illegal aliens that are new just in this last year from Joe Biden, I mean, that's overwhelming the system to where we can't even try to talk about deportation. It's way too expensive. It's completely illogical. So then, of course, they've overwhelmed the system again to say, well, I guess the only opportunity we have now is just to give them amnesty because we can't tell 1 million people to leave because they've done that by strategy.
That's exactly right. You know, everything the Democratic Party does is well thought out and strategic. They're doing this for the reasons that you just said. And, of course, the long-term goal, which we know because they've tried twice now to slip a pathway to citizenship into the reconciliation bill and been told no by the parliamentarians. This is their objective.
Yeah.
Look, I think that what's happening, Andy, in my opinion, and I'm usually right, but in my opinion, you know, we know that many Democrats and independents are fleeing the Democratic Party at record rates. You know, many aren't, but many are. And so they've got to make up and compensate for that with their voter base. That's what this is all about. It's all about reinforcing voters.
All about the vote. You're right. All about reinforcing their vote to try and match what they're actually trying to put on the end of the ballot at the end of the day as well. Drew Allen, host of the Drew Allen Show podcast. Find him online, drewthomasallen.com. Drew, it's always good to talk to you, my friend. I always appreciate it. Let's get you back on again here real soon.
I can't wait, Andy. Thank you so much.
Hey, always a pleasure, my friend. It's great to talk to you. That does it for us today. Good news to try and give you a positive ending, exit, outro of the show. The movie, The Expendables 4, yeah, in the making right now. At least we have some positive movies coming out that are actually, like, awesome. That does it for us today. Podcast a little bit. I'm Andy Hooser. This is The Voice of Reason. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
Dan Bongino.
I don't have to be forced to take a vaccine in Florida, and my kids can actually go to school, and I can run my business. Those people will come down, move in mass. And the people who believe the second hand, who think Florida is exploding into like a civil war right now, who believe that stupidity, I live there, none of that's actually happening, won't come in. Everybody wins. On this show, we always try to mix a little bit of sarcasm and humor, but with informative stuff, so you can leave and say, hey, I actually learned something.
Live, middays 11 till 2, right here on KQAM.
The Dan Bongino Show.
Professional excavators and homeowners, safety always comes first, and safe digging is no accident. So before you begin your next digging project, remember to call Kansas 811 to have your underground utility lines marked for free. Know what's below. Call 811 before you dig. So play it safe, put down the shovel, pick up the phone, and call 811 first. This message is brought to you by Kansas 811, reminding you that no matter if your digging project is big or small, don't make a judgment call. Always call 811 before you dig.
Communication station, K273CX, FM 102.5, and AM 1480 KQAM. Wichita proud. It's time for your latest news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center, 3250 West 13th Street. Locally owned and operated. Now you have a friend in the tire business. Kennedy Tire and Auto Care Center.
From the KQAM News Desk, I'm Trace Tall. Good afternoon. Spirit AeroSystems informed its U.S.-based employees today that COVID-19 vaccinations will be mandatory effective December 8th, as outlined in an executive order issued by President Joe Biden September 9th, 2021. President Biden's order mandates vaccines for all employees of federal contractors. The company tells KSN News that the requirement applies to existing and new defense contracts and goes beyond employees who directly support defense contracts. Spirit said they are working with local healthcare providers to administer vaccines. And the Butler County Sheriff's Office says it has arrested 22-year-old Maxwell Adams in connection to a shooting south of Rose Hill yesterday. Investigators believe the shooting stemmed from a dispute over money. And for a short time after the incident, Rose Hill Public Schools went into lockdown as a precaution for student safety. Students were not allowed outside. Have a great Wednesday. And now here's sports.
At the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Mason Voth. This update brought to you by Clearwater Liquor. Get your beer, wine, and spirits for your favorite games at Clearwater Liquor. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs certainly have some options available to them over the last couple of hours, as now we know that the Dallas Cowboys have released Jalen Smith late last night, and today Stephon Gilmore released by the New England Patriots. Money obviously being the biggest cause. The Chiefs getting ready for the Bills could certainly use some defensive help.
This is Casey from eGraphics in Wichita. Are you tired of being blinded by the sun while driving? We say don't squint, tint. eGraphics is Wichita's undisputed leader in vehicle graphics and window tint. We have a number of options to cut down on glare, reduce interior sun fade damage, and keep your ride cooler and more comfortable. Stop by eGraphics Tuesday through Friday, 8 to 5, Saturdays by appointment. eGraphics, 220 South Washington. Call 262-8468 or see us at egraf-x.com.
At Bowles Builders, demand is through the roof. To keep up, his business needs